What is going on? Welcome back to Trending Stocks. Today I want to talk to you about Palantir. It has gone on quite the run over the last little bit, so I want to go over some of the recent data points, some of the latest updates from the company, and just where things might be going from here. Before I get into any of that though, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And with that said, let's get right to it. So based on today, it was very volatile. So $16.12 being the low, $16.69 being the high. It did close 0.67% in the red, and the volume was a little bit low. So as far as volume, 35 million shares being traded, 61 is the average. So when it comes down to that aspect, it clearly is because big money and both retail are not getting in as much as they once were. So these are all the transactions that did occur on the secondary market over $100,000. So in comparison to previous days, the frequency isn't there. And even in comparison to this, when it was starting to really rally and ramp up, it just clearly the volume isn't there, and big money is just not really taking advantage of that. Whether they see it maybe pulling back, I'm not really sure. But when it comes to it, retail is also kind of taking a step back. So it looks like based on the momentum indicator, ever since around the 17th, retail has been slowly getting out as well. So let me know you guys' thoughts on that in the comments below. When it comes down to the technicals, I'm going to break it down and go over all the fun jazz that you need to know. But starting off with some other data points, looking at options activity. So today there was $11 million in calls being purchased versus 3.93 million in puts. So based on that, clearly people are anticipating Palantir to continue to trend up. And based on all the $15.05 million in premiums based on both puts and calls, 74% of it is bullish. So once again, let me know you guys' viewpoint on that. If you are optimistic and looking at this chart right here, so this is just the grid for calls. It has the strike prices, expiry dates. It is anticipated to go roughly by the end of this week, anywhere from around $18 to $19. So a lot more optimism in that regard. And as far as their Q2 earnings, I think that's set to come out August 7th. That's what this news is. So August 7th after hours. If we kind of look at the latest change for that, that would be incorporated in the August 11th. It is anticipated to go once again similar to around what is coming for this week, anywhere from 18 to around 1950. But when it comes down to options activity, whether it be this or just on the intraday, it is just merely a sentiment. It does not move the stock price. But again, based on this, even though big money isn't necessarily getting in through physical shares, they might be buying calls. That might be an easier route for them. Who knows? But when it comes down to this, like I said, their actual Q2 earnings set for August the 7th. I'll give you guys a quick overview as far as some expectations. So looking right here as far as revenue. So Q2, it looks like there's currently 10 estimates by analysts, and there is a consensus of $530.63 million between them. No real recent changes for any analysts. And as far as earnings per share, it looks like it is positive 5 cents, and that's based on 13 analysts. Once again, similar nature, not really any changes. And when it comes down to analyst ratings, not really much has changed in that regard as well. Looks like the last being 7 days ago from Mizuho, who did give a hold rating and a $14 price target, and based on them, they do have a 58% success rate as well. So compared to a lot of other analysts, that's not too bad. On a side note, if you're looking for a lot of good compiled information such as this, take a look at Interactive Brokers, link in the description below. It is completely free to have all this information, and yeah, everything under the sun. It's pretty good. But with that said, and moving on, there was actually no recent news as of late. So the last being on the 20th, no recent SEC filings, nothing along those lines. So it is just merely following the broader market. I feel closer to the August 7th. So we're kind of roughly like a week and a half to 2 weeks potentially out. So I feel closer to that date. There might be a little bit more of a FOMO action closer to then. But I think from now until then, it might actually pull back a little bit, even though based on their Q1 earnings was absolutely phenomenal. And I think Q2 most likely will duplicate that as well. I just feel that based on the technicals and big money not really buying as much as they once were, it won't be able to really hold itself up. But once again, I'll go over some additional data and break that down for you, starting off with shorts. So once again, in the past, as I've mentioned, I don't see Palantir being a squeeze play, but it's a good benchmark to use. So short score is currently 40, utilization is 7.8. And looking right here, 6.61% of the free float is being shorted. 119.19 million shares overall are being shorted. Cost to borrow is absolutely penny, so it's 0.9%. That's the average. And today, shorts did return 672,000 shares. So the fact that it was kind of flat and they did return some shares does kind of signal that it's with the options activity, that there is anticipation of it going up. So like I said, I'm just laying out all the data for you guys. You guys always do your own due diligence at the end of the day because I am not a financial advisor. So when it comes down to the options activity and the actual short activity and just the basic fundamental of the company, based on the upcoming Q2 earnings, I think all of those are very bullish. The only thing that is kind of on the edge a little bit is the technicals, because looking on the actual chart, it is borderline. So it's actually been wanting to transition from the higher to the lower percentile of the Bollinger Band, but surprisingly enough, it actually has held over the last couple of days, but still that's something that you need to factor in. But more specifically, that 50-day moving average. So in Palantir's case, when it does get over that 50-day moving average, that's when things get very, very real, very fast. So again, based on the technicals, it's kind of staring off of a virtual cliff, if you want to consider it that way. So if it does unfortunately break below that, then anticipate to back to around the mid 14s based on that. Looking here, so with it being at $16.32, it is currently between the P and the R1. So 15.35 is that next big support, and 16.73 is that next big resistance. And it kind of bounced off of that today. Like I mentioned, a lot of volatility today. But once again, let me know you guys' thoughts on Palantir in the comments below. What's your viewpoint on this upcoming Q2 earnings? Do you think that it's going to be another home run, amazing, just surprise earnings similar to what happened on the Q1 earnings? Or do you think it's going to signal a little bit of a slowing down? What's your viewpoint on that? Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And give yourself a shout out if you have been buying over the last little bit, because I think a lot of people seem to have very low averages. And I think if you are still in Palantir and you haven't taken any profits, you're in it for the long haul. And I think that Palantir in reality is going to be a very, very disruptive company in the coming years. So definitely a lot of exciting things are going to be right around the corner. Let me know you guys' thoughts on that. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. I always greatly appreciate that. And one final thing I just wanted to share with you, there is an amazing promo with Moomoo, link in the description below and also the comments. It's free to sign up for an account, plus it does offer $0 commission, free level 2 trading. But if you throw $100 at this account, you get 5 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000, and you also get a $50 cash reward. So this is literally like a no-brainer. This is an amazing deal. Link in the description below and also the comments. With that said, I appreciate you guys watching. Let's all make a lot of money on Palantir.